Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Welcome to r/AmITheA butthole, the subreddit that you all know and love. But just a second, one quick question before I start. I know I've been doing a lot of posts about r/AmITheA butthole because 1, there's lots of great stories, and 2, you all seem to absolutely love it. Now, if there are some other subreddits that you all absolutely love, make sure to leave them in the comments down below, and I'll have a look at making a video about them in the near future. But with that said, let's get straight into this first post by My One Pants. I got in trouble at school this fall. I'm a junior in high school. Edit to add what I got in trouble for, since a couple people asked. I smoked weed with a guy in the woods after school once and got caught. I also made out with him a couple times, and my parents found out about that too. As punishment, my parents took away a lot of my things. All my clothes except 3 pairs of plain jeans, and 3 plain black shirts and my coat. And all my makeup and hair stuff, purses and shoes, saying I had to earn things back with good behaviour. I don't get to engage in my hobby, fashion, till I've earned it. Anyway, it was a couple of bad months, but I came to a couple of realizations. It was actually kinda nice not to have to think about what to wear and how I look. My friends knew what my parents had done and didn't judge me. I also told anyone who asked why I looked like I only had one outfit what was up, and it was no big deal. I know it was supposed to be a demeaning and humiliating punishment to make me look bad at school, but honestly, it just makes them look bad when people at school know I'm only allowed to wear one thing. I don't want to have things that are just something someone else can hold over my head. I don't want the old clothes and makeup back. If I'm gonna get back into that stuff, I'll do it on my own terms. I'll buy my own stuff. So I told my parents that I don't care if they keep the clothes and makeup. They've made it clear that stuff doesn't belong to me. And it's gross to me to spend every day wearing clothes that aren't mine, that can be given and taken as a punishment. I'd feel gross and I'd rather not wear them again. So now my parents are mad because they've got a lot of clothes boxed up in the attic that the family spent money on and that are going to waste. Nobody else can wear them. My mum is at my size and my only sibling is my little brother. I said, I don't care. I want clothes that are my own and those aren't it. Am I the butthole for not taking the clothes back and letting them go to waste? Ooh, this is what I would call a pro-gamer move, OP. I say, not the butthole, and I like your solution. On the other hand, the clothes don't have to go to waste. You can easily donate them or something, so they're not just collecting dust up in the attic. And here's our next post by user/familiarjacket. I work for a company of 10,000 plus people within customer service. At my office, there are a lot of people who don't respond to my emails, and those that do sometimes take days. This has been frustrating me recently. If I need a certain document or something, I have to practically chase down the person to get it. Given that most of us are now working from home, this has made the problem worse. I decided to start including the chairman/CEO of our company on all emails to coworkers who either never respond or are very slow. To give some examples, IT is usually slow, so when I had an issue with my laptop last week, I included the CEO on it. There was another case where a customer had a question that I didn't know the answer to. So I told the customer I'd get back to him and emailed the coworker, as well as CC'd in the CEO, my question. I've only been doing this for a week, but the response rate has been fantastic. My supervisor called me up and told me to stop doing this. And I explained the problem to him. He nonetheless still told me to stop, and I agreed to it. However, I'm planning on resuming if my coworkers start ignoring me again. I haven't gotten a response from the CEO either, so I don't think it's really a big deal. And an edit to people who are asking, I'm 22. Geez, I'm surprised this person is 22. This is like some prime boomer behavior, at least in my humble opinion. And to any boomers out there, I don't mean to offend. This is just the stereotype that I'm referencing. But aside from that, my friend, you're the butthole. First of all, to your co-workers, there's no need to sort this problem out like that. And second of all, to the CEO, who I don't doubt is a very busy person. If you really need some action, maybe CC your supervisor and then they can sort it out. Like, in a company of 10,000 plus people, CCing the CEO is not essential at all, and I think a quick and easy way to get yourself fired. And here's our next post by user/deleted. It's been a couple of years, but a post on here reminded me on it, and we lost several friends over this, but still feel we were in the right. My wife and I had adopted my niece Katie when she was 3, and when she was 6, we were looking to adopt another child. My wife's friend introduced us to her sister, Jill, who was also trying to adopt. About 2 months into being friends with Jill, she found a boy she wanted to adopt, Henry, who was 7 at the time. Jill took Henry out for the day. My wife and I were taking Katie to the park, so we arranged to meet them there. Henry and Katie instantly got on. Henry was a great kid, but very hyper, presumably because he was so excited to meet Jill. Jill commented to me that she hadn't been able to calm Henry down all morning, and asked if we could watch him for a second while she took a breather. We agreed and spent the time talking to Henry, who seemed to fit in well with our existing family dynamic. Eventually, it was time for us to leave, so we went our separate ways. Several weeks later, Jill called me to say that the adoption had been rejected by the agency. Apparently, Henry himself had refused it, so the agency had to decline. A few months after that, Jill found a different child she wanted to adopt and started the process, while we were invited to an open day at a local home, where several prospective parents and families meet the kids. When we were there, we saw Henry. We were using the same agency as Jill, and it was a coincidence or luck, depending on how you look at it. Henry remembered us, we still got on great with him, and we ended up adopting him. From what Henry has said, he rejected Jill as she didn't have a lot of patience and wasn't willing to work with him, while we were a bit more flexible. We didn't tell Jill because at this stage we'd only ever met her twice, once for coffee and then the park, and while we'd had some contact with her over text and phone calls, we didn't know how she'd take this. We also didn't tell our friend, but after adopting Henry, we posted an updated family photo on social media, which a different friend shared, and that was how the first friend saw it. She told Jill that we'd adopted him, and Jill replied to our post that she'd considered us friends and we'd adopted her son out from under her. We clarified the timeline immediately, but our friends were shocked at us, and we received several messages saying that they couldn't believe we'd done that, and saying Henry should essentially be seen as off-limits to us, because he'd rejected Jill. Some even calling us greedy because we already had my niece while Jill had no kids. We felt that was absurd and ended up blocking most of them. But to this day, whenever we see any of them, they're still appalled that we adopted Henry. And even the people who supported us joke about us stealing other people's kids. Are we the buttholes? Geez, not the butthole OP. What, do these people think that if Henry didn't like Jill, no one's allowed to adopt Henry anymore? That seems like some weird and flawed logic to me. My guess is Henry's already had it tough in this life, and if he's found a home that is willing to take him and that he's happy to go to, he should go there. Guys, you did the right thing. And here's another one in this adoption vein, posted by user/spicy as baguette. I, 28 female, obtained custody over my sister's 35 female kids. 9 male, 4 female, and 2 female back in 2018. After she left them alone for 2 weeks to go on a trip. Read drug bender. Of course, this was a huge transition for the kiddos. They had to be moved schools and daycares, and of course couldn't see their mum anymore. Now, the kids are doing better and definitely lead happier lives. Recently though, my sister was released from prison and wants to see the kids again. She called me begging to have a visit with them and telling me that I could give them back because she was out of prison now. I've had a talk with a 9-year-old and he says that he doesn't want to see his mum yet and that he still hates her for leaving him alone. The girls have no memories of her and the smallest one was only 3 months old the last time she saw her. I do feel like I could have helped them foster a better relationship with her, but I don't want to force the oldest into meeting her when he absolutely doesn't want to. Still, my close family has told me that the oldest doesn't know what he's talking about, and it's my fault the little ones don't remember their mother because I didn't take them to see her when she was in prison. They also told me that it's my responsibility to force them to meet her, even when they don't want to, because that's what's best for them, and they shouldn't grow up without their mother. So, am I the butthole? Edit, I've spoken to a professional about this, specifically the oldest therapist. They've advised that it should be up to him. I just want to know if I'm being a jerk to my sister. Also, I've adopted the kids and have full, complete custody of them. Look, OP, I think you're doing the right thing. Mind you, I am not a psychologist of any sort or at all an expert, just a random person offering up their thoughts. And I think if a 9-year-old kid doesn't want to see their mother because he believes that he was abandoned by her, I reckon this kid has the right not to see his mother. And as their guardian, you've got every right not to let their biological mother see them. And here's our next post by user/deleted. My brother is almost 2 years younger than me, but we're pretty close. His girlfriend is his age and a nice person, and she makes my bro happy. There are absolutely no feelings toward her or weird intentions from me. This argument between me and my girlfriend happened a while ago, before quarantine, when we were still able to see each other, and she hasn't really brought it up since then and seems to be over it. But I'm wondering if I was in the wrong because I didn't think I was at all, and it's still bugging me. Also, I want to just add my 2 cents in here, is if it's been a few months and it's still bugging you, you're probably a butthole. Just FYI. So, my girlfriend has nice taste, and she has decent clothing, but she doesn't really shop at any particular stores. Most of her clothes are from Amazon, and rather randomly selected. She used to wear a lot of tomboy kind of clothes, like graphic shirts that were too big and baggy jeans. But that's changed now because I've kinda called her out on it, and I think she's been able to find clothes that fit her better and kind of flatter her more. For context, she's kinda short and petite, so finding clothes that fit can be a challenge for her, since most outfits marked as S or even XS tend to be too big on her. This is relevant because my brother's girlfriend is about the same size as my girlfriend. I think my brother's girlfriend clothes look really nice, and I've asked a few times where she got that outfit or where she buys her clothes from, because I think they'd look good on my girlfriend. Then I'd say to my girlfriend, hey, you should shop at X store because that's where my brother's girlfriend gets her clothes. In fact, I'll take you there sometime. I did this maybe a handful of times. One time, we were all at my house, and I thought the pants that my brother's girlfriend was wearing looked nice. So I asked where she got them, and she said from this store. So I went to the living room where my girlfriend was, and basically said what I wrote above. This time, she got kinda snappy and said, I get it, okay. And I felt like something was wrong, so I asked her if she was upset. And she couldn't really seem to explain why she was annoyed. She just told me she felt like I didn't like how she dressed. I tried to explain that I didn't feel that way at all, but it didn't seem like she was buying it. Was I a butthole? My friends seemed pretty divided about the issue. Jeez, I'm reading through the comments, and this guy is getting destroyed. He is getting fully and utterly just completely annihilated down below. Sure, I agree that OP is the butthole, but I wouldn't go as far as grilling him in the comments down below. Look, I sort of understand where you're coming from, OP. You're not trying to be mean, as far as I understand, but you're just trying to give your girlfriend ways she can improve her looks. Not necessarily because you don't like the way she dresses, but because you think she can improve. And then, somewhere along the way, you sort of failed to realize that the things you're saying could be hurtful or insensitive because you're basically comparing her to another girl and pretty much indirectly telling her that, hey, this girl looks better than you, maybe you should be more like her. Which does make your butthole, but also, guys, don't blow it out of proportion, please. And the title is useful for this next post by user/trickybench2, which is, Am I the butthole for giving my sister up for adoption? I was adopted when I was 5 years old by a couple who were 28 and 30 at the time. They had no other children. This past year, 2 things happened. My adoptive father was diagnosed with cancer, and my adoptive mother got pregnant for the first time in decades. My adoptive mother always thought she was infertile, but apparently her miracle had arrived. She carried on with her pregnancy despite his cancer and her age. She died in childbirth, and my adoptive father followed her 2 months later. Which left me with an infant baby sister and 2 dead parents. My family's telling me that this is my duty, that I'm not a child or incapable. And of course, they're not offering to take her in at all. They've all vehemently refused. Everyone is furious that I used my adoptive parents' resources. And now that it's time to reciprocate, I'm taking the easy way out. They say I'm the right age to have a child anyway, and that it's just like if I'd done the deed myself and gave birth to her. They've even brought up my fertility-reducing medical conditions and say this is my chance. This isn't my child. I'm not ready to be a parent. I've graduated college, yes, but I still had my dreams. I'm not in financial, emotional, or mental place to raise a child. Even if I kept every penny of the meager inheritance, I'm still single and I want to be able to date, and maybe even marry and have my own family one day. I'll never be able to do anything with this child anchoring me down. I've consulted with lawyers and they say I have the right to give this child up for adoption. I'm using an adoption agency. It's an unusual adoption because I'm not attached or related to the child except legally. And I'm also splitting the inheritance 50-50 with my sister and giving it to the adoptive parents for her benefits. So they're gaining more money by adopting this child. I picked a couple that my adoptive parents would have approved of. A mid-30s straight religious couple, as opposed to a 25-year-old bisexual atheist, me. We've planned for an open adoption with a much more appropriate art role for me. And I think it'll work out because I obviously don't feel or have a motherly bond. My family is furious, and I'm getting 24/7 calls that I'm selfish, that they'll force me to keep her, and all sorts of empty threats. Am I in the wrong here? Personally, OP, not the butthole, but guys, if you want to, leave your opinions down below. And guys, I think this story will be the last one for today. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel for edit videos 3 times every single week. But with that said, that is it from me. I hope you enjoyed, and all I want to do is see you all here next time. See you later, guys.